Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sue of Bendnstretch with Sue. In today's video, I'll be taking you through a Fall Equinox Yin Yoga practice. Now before we get started, I would like to do a quick shout out to a YouTube supporter of the channel, and the name is Heaven Glamour. Heaven Glamour is a channel very passionate about sharing nature, the beauty of nature, as well as some healthy lifestyle tips. So quite a variety of content. I'll link it down below so that you can check it out. Now, as we begin, I have some props set up here. I have a couple of bolsters, a couple of blocks, yoga blocks, as well as a blanket that can help to support the body. So it's really important for you to have some maybe some cushions available that can help to make you comfortable throughout the practice, because in Yin Yoga we do hold the poses for an extended period of time. Now if you find the length is too long for you, it becomes painful in any way, by all means make your way out. But the magic of Yin Yoga is really all about the length of time for which we hold, allowing you to get deep into the connective tissue. Now the first pose that we'll begin with, as we just take a few moments to center, coming into a comfortable seated position. Now you may find that you prefer to sit with the hips elevated, perhaps using a block or even using a blanket to bring the hips up a little bit higher in order to allow the hips to open more comfortably. You do want to remain nice and tall through your spine. And as we begin our centering, just closing the eyes, just place the hands wherever it's most comfortable for you. You can soften through the body and bring the awareness to your breathing. As you do this, you start to move your attention to what is going on within your body, and you move away from the busyness of your mind. So let yourself feel the smoothness with which you draw your breath in. The exhales are smooth and maybe elongated. Chin is level, the top of the head continues to reach upward. And taking one more final deep breath in through the nostrils, and exhaling completely through the mouth. You can open the eyes, and from here we'll move into our first position. So moving into caterpillar, which is a seated pose. Now again, you may wish to do this with a blanket underneath your sit bones. You could also reach for a bolster, cushion, or even a rolled up blanket might be quite helpful. If you have very, very tight hamstrings, which is often the case I find with many students and practitioners in yoga, you could soften the knees by bringing some support to them and allowing yourself to remain tall here in your seated position, and then allow yourself to fold over the legs. And notice from here, there's not a lot of pressure in the back as I set this up. I just have my timer here because we're going to be holding for approximately 5 minutes. Now, if this doesn't feel quite right, you could also take advantage of a bolster or even a pillow placed along the length of your legs and letting your body rest over top of that bolster, or even placing it right underneath the rib cage and letting yourself fold over top of the bolster. So there's many options, and quite often as you practice, it's really a matter of discovering what will serve you best. You can also use your block and simply let your forehead rest over the block. But as we surrender into this Yin Yoga practice, which is really meant as a transitional place where we move from summer into fall now, particularly in the northern hemisphere, that is, we now come to a point where the days are the same length as the night, and gradually we move into more and more darkness. And this is a time for introspection as we move indoors, and we move to a more quiet lifestyle as far as activity. We're not spending quite as much time outdoors for many, and we do, because of the cold, tend to retreat indoors. So along with the introspection, when we observe the Yin practice, it really is connected to the TCM, which is Traditional Chinese Medicine. And the energies of fall are linked to particular energy lines within the body. And these are the lines of energy that we stimulate in this practice. And we come to the halfway point. It's always a good place to observe, to see if there's any adjustments that you can make. Perhaps at this point you find that you can go maybe a little bit deeper. Perhaps you may have to come back a little bit. Maybe you're finding that discomfort is now transitioning into pain, and we don't want that. We want to, the discomfort is okay because that's going to help to keep you present. However, pain is a signal from your body that you need to adjust. Using your breathing will help you to navigate through that discomfort. Using the exhales to allow you to relax and to soften a little bit more. And with these long periods of hold is where you get into that fascial tissue that encapsulates the muscles, getting into tendons, getting into the ligaments that are meant to have some give. We don't want to strain those tissues. We simply want to apply some positive pressure to help them to function better. In doing this, we create more generation of hyaluronic acid, which is lubricating to those tissues. It's a natural byproduct within the body. So we just have a few more breaths here. So see if you can soften a little bit more. Elongate your exhales. Make sure you soften in your shoulders and your jaw. And using your next inhalation, just slowly unroll yourself and make your way up to seated. So as we come up, it's always a good idea to come into a counterbalance position. So from a forward fold, balancing by lifting up and coming into a stretch of the anterior body, little activation through the back lines of the body, and then moving back into a seated position. And from there we'll transition to come into our next pose. So I'll just move some of these out of the way so you can have a good look. The meridian lines, which are energy lines within the body that are being stimulated in the fall are, or that we want to stimulate, are the lung and the large intestine meridians. Now, the next position that we move into is called broken branch. And we're going to take the left hand and place it toward the right hip, or just below the waist on the right side. So we take it across, and you may want to have a block handy for this one. And then we take the right arm and take it across as well toward the left, but bringing it just around the collarbone area. Now from here, you may want to use a block. If you can't comfortably come all the way down to the mat, and simply rest your head on that block. Now if you have a little bit more flexibility, you may comfortably be able to bring your forehead all the way down to the mat. You may even bring the ear to the mat and allow your body to soften over those arms. So adjust anything that needs adjusting here. And again, use the support of your props. You could have a blanket to help underneath your shoulder to keep you more comfortable. And softening here. Now as we stimulate, in this case, we target particularly the lung meridian. So that is an energy line that runs right from between the thumb and the index finger. It goes up the outer, through the wrist, around the outer arm, up to the elbow, and then up to the shoulder blade, and makes its way up and ends up going through the throat and ends to the side of the nose. And it meanders through the upper chest area from the shoulder blade. So this is really great for stimulating that. But the lung meridian works in conjunction with the large intestine, as I mentioned. And it's really indicative of the fall, as far as the fall is a symbolization of things dying off as we have harvested from the summer, and within the body, the lungs draw in the energy, the fresh oxygen, but they also detoxify the body. So that clearing out, that is so similar to clearing out that happens with harvest in the fall. And you can see why it works in conjunction with the large intestine, which is also a clearing out of waste from the body. So we're just coming up to the halfway point here. So if you'd like to adjust yourself, maybe you're ready now to go a little bit deeper, go ahead, make that change. And continue to use that breath to help you soften. So if you have shoulder problems, this is a really great one to get deep into the tissue of the shoulder, into the joint, so particularly the fascia and connective tissue. So all of these yin poses, even though they deal with the physicality, such as joints, connective tissue, they also refer to the energy within the body. Very, very similar to acupuncture. The same sort of, we work with the same energy lines when working with yin as we do in acupuncture. Important to relax that upper body as much as possible so that the pressure that is applied to the area we're targeting here is consistent. So we're down to approximately the last minute of holding.
continuing to use your breath to help you to soften. Now, with the left arm that runs under the body, under the lungs, we apply some pressure to the large intestine, meridian, which runs through the abdomen. And it also was stimulated in that very first position that we were in, caterpillar, because of that extensive amount of time that we were in the forward fold. So there was a lot of pressure exerted there, which is what we want to apply. Pressure yoga is absolutely wonderful for all its twisting and squeezing and stretching of not only the fascia, but the organs as well. Now, as we use the inhalation to bring yourselves up, we're going to move from that broken branch into open wing. So continue to work on that right shoulder specifically. We take the right arm and bring it all the way out to the side. So you want to bring it in line with your shoulder as you bring the head back down again. So the arm is reaching away from you. Again, if you find that perhaps you're lifted fairly high and you need some support for your head, just slide a blanket. You could just take the blanket, take the block, and put it underneath the head so that you have more leveling for your neck. So you don't want to feel compression there. As you keep that arm reaching away from you, you can take your left hand to help you to roll onto the left side or right side of your body. As you do this, you are intending to bring your body to square up. So you want to have that left shoulder opening up, kind of slightly rolling back. You can continue to use your arm in front of you to allow that to happen. And you'll notice my hips start to move back slightly. If that's not possible for you, you could even continue to support yourself with the leg in front of you. If you've got a little bit more flexibility, you're going to start to feel that right shoulder really opening up. You could take your top leg and bring it behind you to create even more opening into that hip. So continue to use the pressure of your left arm in front of you. And some do like to use the left arm, reaching it up and back and lightly placing it along the back as you allow that chest to really open up. So this creates that stimulation to the lung meridian through both of the shoulders. But you don't have to do both at the same time. You could do just the one, just as effective, because we're going to be doing the two sides. Using your breath here to soften up. Now, as you continue to maintain some smooth, deep breaths, you also allow the diaphragm to expand. So as the lungs fill, the diaphragm expands, and it pushes downward to the large intestine and massages those organs. And then as you exhale again, moving back upward and really pressing up against the lungs themselves. So this is why the two organs work hand in hand in really strengthening. Now we're halfway through. If you'd like to deepen even further, you could take that bottom leg, crossing it over the inner thigh as you continue to open that up. Should feel good. If it's too much, just come back. Don't feel like you have to add on, because really the benefit of this practice is going to come from the length of time that you're in the posture and really working with what your body is needing rather than trying to push. In Yin, we want to be in the position rather than to do the position. So quite different from the Yang practice, where we're moving, we're flowing, and we're executing actual energy and force in doing the poses. Here, we just want to get our body set up, and then we just let nature take its course. Now, this creates, particularly in my top leg, I'm getting a hip flexor stretch here. So I'm getting more opening in the pelvis, which allows me to breathe more deeply. When the hip flexors are really tight, we end up with constricted breath. There's no room to really allow for the deepening of our breath and the expansion of those lungs. So everything is connected, it all works together to really support you to be the healthiest being that you can be. From here we slowly make our way out, so uncrossing and moving back as you bring that right arm out. You might find that you're a little bit stiff. It's really important to move very slowly as you make your way out of these poses. You can come out and roll out the shoulders a little bit, taking an inhale to reach the arms up, exhaling to bring one arm down and reaching up and over. Again, we want to bring some balance here. And inhaling to bring the arms back up again, taking the opposite one down and reaching up and over. As you bring it back up, we prepare ourselves to move into the opposite side. So same thing, so you can stay where you are. I'm just going to switch out sides in order to be able to continue to maintain a visual here. So again, we are beginning with broken branch, and now we're going to take the right arm across to the left lower waist, left hip, and reaching through with the left arm. So opposite side as we set up, bringing the head down either to a block or to your mat, to a blanket, whatever helps to make you more comfortable. Of course, like any yoga practice, you will find that one side is different than the other. So you may observe that there is maybe more restriction on one side, perhaps more opening. So try to refrain from judging. And with all of the organs, there is a time of regeneration of the organs. Again, following the traditional Chinese medicine. And when we sleep, sleep is all about regenerating the body, there's a 2-hour period for all of the major organs to regenerate. And for the lung meridian, that regeneration happens between 3 and 5 a.m., large intestine between 5 and 7 a.m. So if you find that you awaken during those times, it could be that something's going on in those organs. Maybe you are fighting some infection or just having some disturbances with the organs. Just be mindful of that. Once again, we're just coming up to the halfway mark here. So make any adjustments that you like. If you've used support under the head, you might feel that you're ready to eliminate it. You might have to readjust a little bit through the positioning of your arms to maybe make it a little bit deeper of a stretch, maybe a little less deep. And use the time, what you're holding, as an opportunity to just be present. We are typically so busy, so much going on. It's so wonderful to just step away from everything for a little bit to bring some nurturing to your body. When doing that, you nurture your entire being. There's also certain emotions attached to all of the major organs within the body in traditional Chinese medicine. And because the heart the lungs and the large intestine meridians work so closely together, the emotions that relate to them are very similar. When there is dysfunction in these organs and the energy within them, tends to be translated into worry, grief, sadness. Whereas when they are functioning well, creates a greater sense of self-esteem, stronger, healthier self-esteem. So once again, we use the inhalation to move ourselves back up, carefully bringing the arm out, and we can move right into the next one, which is open wing, as we extend the left arm out this time, bringing the left ear to the mat or to your block, as we use the right hand to help to move us onto the right side of our bodies. You do want to create a straight line with the body also. So try not to be kind of in a boomerang or a V shape with your body. You want to have a nice straight line, even if you are rolled forward more. But as you adjust yourself here again, you can start out and you can remain just stacked in this position using just a little bit of support of your right arm in front of you. Or you may wish to once again extend the arm up and then just gently bringing it back behind you, resting the back of your hand to the lower back and creating really wonderful stretch through your chest. And as you open the heart center this way, it's so much easier to accommodate your breath, much more ease. And perhaps you ease your way into a deeper expression. You may want to step that top leg back to open up. So again, you're creating that stretch through the hip, and with your top arm reaching back or pushing you back slightly. You open up those energy lines in the front body, especially in our retreating indoors. Perhaps we return to those devices that have us in more of a forward bending, reaching for keyboard or just holding on to our phones, whether you're right-handed or left-handed. You may find here you really notice the difference from one shoulder to the other as you stretch those long meridians. Both the large intestine and the lung meridians work in conjunction with the heart meridian and the organ as well. From here you can once again use your bottom foot, if you like, to deepen that stretch, to open up through the inner thigh. As the lungs draw the oxygen into the body, bringing it in as energy, oxygen into the bloodstream, circulated through the heart, again aiding to draw in the fresh energy into the body, and then aiding to detoxify it, releasing waste and keeping. So that's why it's so important to get the proper amount of sleep, hydrate the body, supply it with wonderful nutrients that support and really empower us, creating feel-good energy through the whole body. So we're down to the last minute here once again. Try to relax, using that breath to help you surrender any discomfort. And as you take your time, using your inhalation to ease your way back out, using that top arm to help support you as you stack the legs and make your way to that prone position as you ease back into movement with your left arm. Press yourself up and move into table to move through a few rounds of cow and cat, massaging out your spine wonderfully this way. And taking a big breath in to reach up with one arm, looking up to that hand, floating it down on the exhale, doing the same thing to the other side, bringing it down. And from here, we move into a supine positioning. So again, we continue to target those same lines, and you have some different options here. We're going to come into supported fish pose, and this is a back bending position. Now you might find yourself, if you have lots of very inflexible spine, you might find that kind of rolling up a blanket or a towel in a small roll like this is really helpful for you to lay back on. And you would want to bring this blanket, the base of it, right at the base of the spine, right around the sacrum. And you may have to bring it up a little bit higher. So again, if you're not very flexible through the spine, you may find that taking it up higher is more helpful for you. And from there, opening the arms nice and wide. Now you could use either a cushion, pillow, or even a yoga block to support the head if you find that there's a bit too much extension going on here with your spine. For some of you who have been practicing for a while, you can go ahead, use a yoga block between the shoulder blades, or maybe you can use a bolster. We'll take the blocks nearby, and for those of you who have that additional flexibility, you may feel quite comfortable bringing the legs at the same time into a supported reclined butterfly. You could use the blocks here to support your legs, or you may wish to just let the legs relax and open up. So always, always plenty of options, and as I've mentioned, it really is a journey of discovery to explore what works best, what serves you the best. So as you settle in here, having the arms open, if you find it's a little too much pulling through the chest, you could just keep the hands alongside your hips. And the further away you take them, the bigger that stretch becomes in the lung meridian here that runs through the upper arm into the shoulder, as well as into the chest cavity. And then the lengthening that you create through the abdominal area to target the large intestine. You may want to bring the feet a little closer together in your butterfly, or you could simply extend the legs out long as well. At any point in time, should you find yourself really struggling, feel free to come out. Better to hold for a shorter period of time, and then gradually over time increasing the length. So this practice is a little bit shorter than perhaps we would do an in-class session. But it does give you a really good opportunity for some balancing to the body. Great opportunity to use this time where you move indoors to move inward as well. If you're used to being on the move and fidgeting a lot, this won't come easy. It can be difficult to be without movement for an extended period of time such as this. It can be a real challenge. But the more you return to the mat and experience that type of challenge, you soon start to conquer the mind and its inability to be still. And by doing that, you find more peace. And more balance. This position is wonderful for letting the lungs expand fully, and the diaphragm has the space to move and to really massage those organs. The massaging of the organs from the diaphragm as you expand your lungs really helps to enable the large intestine to function much more efficiently. When the lungs are constricted and the breath capacity is limited, then there are issues with elimination of waste. It's a great practice to just breathe, focusing on breath
There's so many benefits, not only physically, but also in the way that it creates your state. So already we come to time of being in this position. Gently draw your knees together. Now, in order to make your way off of the bolster, you'll want to roll to one side, and from there, moving it out of your way. So as we move that away, we can come back to a supine position. And as we prepare to bring our practice to conclusion here, we just want to rebalance the spine. So you want to lengthen it, and if you open your arms, you can simply allow your knees to tip to one side. You might even want to bring the top knee in a little closer. So again, this is a counterbalance pose. Coming out of a back bend, side twists are always a wonderful way to rebalance. Releasing it in your own time, and stay there a little longer if you like, and bring the knees to the opposite side. And the same thing here, trying to really relax through your grounded shoulder. You might find that now it opens up much more easily, bringing in the knee if you like to make it a little bit deeper, turning away as you pause and hold that twist. Now to release it, coming into corpse pose as you extend the legs out long. From there, you can lay back, close the eyes, and allow yourself some time to simply integrate your practice. Doing so in an outstretched position will allow you the ease with which the body restores as the energy moves so much more easily in the supine outstretched position without constriction and binding. Allow your breathing to soften. The eyes closed, you can maybe let a smile come to the face as you enjoy soaking in all those wonderful benefits of time so well invested in your self-care. And as you continue to lay here, as long as you like, I would like to leave you today with some inspiration, as I sometimes like to incorporate in my classes. I have cards from Louise Hay's Heart Thoughts, and I'll just choose one of the cards randomly here, see what we have for today, which is, I trust the process of life to take care of me. Today's a new day. I will know how many wonderful new experiences. I am loved, I am safe, and so it is. So leaving you with that thought, I hope that you've enjoyed your time with me here today. And if you haven't already, I really appreciate it if you subscribe. And also, give me one of these if you liked it. Thumbs up. Hit that notification bell so you'll know when I upload some new content. You can check it out and check me out in the next video. Namaste.